I'm here.
Good evening, Jared. You're muted, Jared. Just so, okay, there you go, buddy. Okay. All right, it's 5:30. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday, September 14th, 2022 meeting of the Zoning Hearing Board for the City of Reading. I'm going to introduce the board members and Jared.
Jared Bartz, member of the board.
Okay, Jeff,
Jeff Catone, member of the board.
Charlie,
Charlie Jones, alternate member of the board.
Bill Hurst, member of the board.
okay, I'm Phil Rabina, member of the board. And Mr. Price is our solicitor. I don't see Mr. Price here. Oh, there you go. And our zoning officer, Mr. Neff. All right, just as a side note, Mr. Fox, one of our board members, is not with us tonight. He is being honored by the Reading School District Foundation for his many, many years, approximately 44 years, of working with the Reading High School TV station. He was able to get things from NBC, CBS. Many of his students got to visit studios in New York and work with people like Kelly Ripa. So while we miss Mr. Fox tonight, it is wonderful that he's being honored, and he's helped many, many students in the Reading area, including my daughter, who enjoyed her association with him. So without any further ado, we do have some decisions that we're going to render. Mr. Price, you're muted, just in case you don't know that.
Am I off? Can you
Yes,
hear me?
you're
Okay.
okay now.
Sorry.
All right. The first decision that we are going, the first appeal that we're going to render a decision on from last month's meeting is Appeal 2022-28, 108 Oley Street. Mr. Price,
Is there a motion to deny the relief requested?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second,
Okay,
Are there questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor to deny, say aye.
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 All opposed, ayes have it.
The next matter was Appeal 2022-30. It's 1324 Allegheny Avenue.
Is there a motion to approve the relief requested subject to the conditions set forth in the decision? Who's speaking?
Anybody make a motion?
I'll make the motion. Is there a
Bill Harsh
second?
made a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Are there questions or comments on the motion? All in favor to approve, say aye.
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 All opposed, ayes have it.
The next matter was Appeal 2022-33. It's 242 Warren Street bypass.
Is there a motion to approve the relief requested, subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. The next appeal is 2022-34, 601 Penn Street.
Is there a motion to deny the relief requested?
make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments on the motion? All right, hearing none, all in favor to deny the requested relief, say aye.
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 All opposed, ayes have it.
Thank you. All right, the next matter before us, or the first appeal that we'll hear this evening, is Appeal 2022-31. It's Mark J. Shalaki on behalf of RR Fish LLC is requesting a special exception and/or variance of and from section 600-807A and 600-1101 pursuant to section 600-406 D2 A, B, C, and D to allow 36 apartments. The subject property is located in the CC zoning district. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank
Has
you.
notice for this appeal been given?
Yes, it has.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Price.
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the City of Reading zoning ordinance as amended.
Okay, if the applicant is represented by counsel, I'd like counsel to enter their appearance, and anybody that they're going to have testify, we will have them sworn in after you enter your appearance. So is there counsel for this appeal?
Yes, Nicole Plank is present for this appeal. I
Okay.
represent the R&R Fish LLC.
Okay, thank
And
you.
what we were requesting today, why I'm here and requesting, is for a continuance. We are still working on various things that need to be completed prior to us being able to present a proper and full request for this appeal.
Okay, well, thank you for doing that, because the more information we have, the better decisions we can make. Members of the board, if I make a motion to grant a continuance, would I have a second for that?
You have a second?
Okay, how many, I'll make the motion to grant a continuance for Appeal 2022-31, 527, 529 Court Street. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any questions or comments? Okay. And
Thank you all very much. Have a great evening. I will leave the meeting.
Miss Plank, what about,
Oh, sorry.
what about 522 and 524? You want a continuance on that too? That's a separate appeal.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I thought he read both of them. Yes, please.
oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, then can we amend, we'll amend my motion, and I wasn't sure of that either, to include Appeal 2022-31 and 2022-32, 527, 529 Court, and 522 and 524 Court. So I will make that motion. Do I again have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
And then Ms. Plank, if you would need additional time in October, just email me or the zoning officer, and we can probably do it by email with the board, so you don't need to attend at 5:30 at night.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening, everyone.
You
All
too.
right, thank you. All right, we will now go to Appeal 2022-35, 801 North 9th Street. The Reading School District is requesting a variance of and from section 600-1706.A, parentheses 1, 1706G, 1712H signs, section 600-809A, building height pursuant to section 600-406D, and a special exception of section 600-1202E to allow a high school academy. The subject property is located in the CN zoning district. I would assume you're represented by counsel, so enter your appearance, and anybody that you're going to have testify, we'll have them sworn in, and then I will go back to our zoning officer.
Hi, it's John Maravich from Fox Rothschild. I represent the school district as solicitor. We would have testify Wayne Garris, who's the CFO of the school district, Aristides Otero, who is with Stackhouse Bensinger, the site engineer, and David Schrader with Schrader Group, who is the designer of the architecture.
Okay, how about you swear in those people at this point, Sandy?
All right, those three, will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. All right, would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do.
Thank you.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
Yes, it has.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Price.
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay, thank you. Just like to say that you're in pretty good shape, I think, in terms of meeting the requirements. And there were a few things that need to be addressed, so hopefully you'll take care of those in your presentation. So begin, please.
I guess since we're doing this by Zoom, I'll just go through our exhibits, which we marked with the A, and then we submitted these to the board. So our exhibit A1 is the deed. Our exhibit A2 is the zoning hearing board application with its exhibits. Our exhibit A3 is the architectural plan. Our exhibit A4 is the resume of Aristides Otero. Our exhibit A5 is the resume of David Schrader. Our exhibit A6 is the composite plan showing the lower level and the 4th floor. Our exhibit A7 is the rendering of the signs and murals. Our exhibit A8 is the drawing composite showing the elevation and level. And our exhibit A9 is the aerial image showing also showing the elevation of the property, because it sits up kind of on one level. One street is higher than the other. I would call Wayne Garris as my first witness to address the project, why we're putting the project where it is, and address busing, traffic, and then just a general explanation of the property.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Garris. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Reading School District. I've been in the position since April of 2014, and in my role, I am responsible for all financial aspects of district operations and specifically oversee construction services here within the district.
Can you explain to the board what this project is, what the school is intending on building?
So our project is to construct a high school academy, grades 9 through 12 for approximately 1,000 students. And the concept is that we will focus on career pathways with this site focusing on as a STEM academy. So we'll be focusing on science and technology, including nursing services and similar science programs.
Why did the school district pick this site?
So when over the last several years, the district has been performing various demographic studies of population growth throughout the city, and the Northeast quadrant has demonstrated the most significant increase in student enrollment and population. As we look at the capacity of the high school and our other buildings, we felt that constructing a school within that area of the city would be beneficial for the district's growth and also providing the greatest amount of walkability for students. Subject to that and looking at the site, It is within 3 blocks of the current high school. So it allows for some synergies with programs that are held there. And quite honestly, with the opportunity to have 1 square block available, this site became attractive to us.
As it pertains to how students are expected to get there, can you explain to the board how that, well, what the district's expectations are?
So the expectation is that a majority of the students will be walking to the site. As part of the parking arrangement, we have allocated for the adequate number of spaces based off the age of the students that will be attending there and what the requirements are within the zoning guidelines. In addition to that, we have provided as part of the site design a parent drop-off area, and also are accommodating for bus parking as well.
Is there an area where buses can pull off and not be in the street?
Yes, so we've identified area for 5 buses. 2 of them would be on Windsor Street with specific bus lanes. And then the other 3 would either be on Mall Street or on 9th Street.
And parking, there's going to be both, we can go through this with the design expert, but there's going to be both an underground parking lot and an above ground parking lot?
Yes, so the surface lot would accommodate parking for students and visitors. And in addition to that, there will be underground parking for staff.
Is it practical for the school district to build a smaller school than is being proposed?
No, I think we looked at the size of the program we want to implement. We felt that based off of the needs of that program, that the building size is appropriate.
And would the district be willing to accept the reasonable conditions if suggested by the zoning hearing board with pertains to the variance? That's all my questions for this witness.
Okay. Before we move on, does anybody on the board have any questions of Mr. Garris?
Yes, I just, as a former Reading School District teacher, I'm sure you'll appreciate this, Mr. Rabina. And Mr. Garris, I would like just because I know I'm going to get questions on this from people in the community. The idea of the academy. Just briefly, again, what's the purpose of the academy? The curriculum.
So the curriculum for this particular academy will be STEM based.
Just
So
okay, just
engineering and math.
okay,
So
just a STEM.
just STEM, including, and then again, including on that, we'll be implementing a nursing program as well. So the focus and the change in education is more of a focus on career pathways. And by creating academies that are focused on specific career pathways that are homogeneous or consistent with one another, allows for them to collaborate in smaller class settings. So by removing approximately 1,000 students from the high school itself, it allows for that smaller learning environment and focused on those particular areas of STEM.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Price, any questions of Mr. Garris?
I have none.
Mr. Neff, any questions of Mr. Garris?
No, I don't.
Okay. Continue, please.
Well, if anybody in the audience has any questions.
Yes, I'm sorry. Does anybody in the audience have any questions of Mr. Garris?
Hi, my name is Harry Rickenbach,
And where do you reside, sir?
805 North 10th Street.
All right. And you have a question? This is the time for questions, not statements.
Yeah, I thought they were going to build an elementary school there.
Okay. So your question is, it's not an elementary school, and why a high school?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Garris, why isn't it an elementary school?
So when we originally proposed the site, we discussed that it would be either a K-8 or a high school option. Certainly, we recognize that over the years, as we've done our demographic studies, we've made modifications to the capacity of our elementary schools by moving the sixth grade or the fifth grade to the middle schools, and they're now a 5 to 8 grade section. So elementaries are K to 4. By making that change, we were able to significantly reduce the capacity at our elementary schools to be within an acceptable parameters of the district. And as we then looked at our middle and our high schools, we identified that it would be appropriate to try to improve the capacity at the high schools to allow for those smaller learning environments.
Do you have any more questions, sir?
Yes, I do. How about the parking situation? For example, 10th and Green Elementary School, every time they
I
go
think
in
Miss,
and go out,
Sir, excuse me, I don't mean to cut you off, but I believe Mr. Maravich is going to have technical witnesses to testify with respect to the parking. Is that correct, Mr. Maravich?
That's correct. They'll identify the parking garage and also the above lot parking that will be available.
Okay. Do you have any questions of this witness, sir?
no,
All right, thank you. This witness is excused.
Thank
Right.
you.
Mr. Maravich, go ahead.
Aristides Stotero, who's with Stackhouse Bensinger, would be my next witness.
Okay.
Waiting for him to get.
She's already been sworn, correct?
No,
Yes,
we
he's
swear,
already sworn.
we
so
swear them all at the same time.
Okay.
Attorney Price. See if he's joining us.
Yep. I think you gotta do that. Hopefully, can you guys hear me
Yes.
I can hear you.
without the echo?
You go ahead and turn your volume up on the speaker.
Yeah, it's as loud as I can go.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so Aristides Otero. I'm a project manager with Stackhouse Bensinger. I've been employed with Stackhouse Bensinger since 2008 with a degree in landscape architecture.
Mr. Maravich, we can qualify him. I know he's testified before.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Otero, just as we marked the exhibits, you're familiar with the zoning application that's marked as Exhibit A2,
Yes,
and you helped and assisted in preparing that for its filing.
correct.
And you're familiar with the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading,
Yes,
and you've worked on various projects in the city of Reading, correct?
correct.
If we can focus in on the request for special exception. Can you explain to the board what this status is of the zoning in this district as it pertains to schools?
Sure. So within the commercial neighborhood zoning district, the use for higher education and public secondary and primary schools is listed as a special exception use, which is a use permitted by right, just needs to go through the hearing process for any other comments and or conditions.
Okay. And there are certain conditions, and I'll cover those. One of the conditions is that a detailed plan be prepared, and I believe that's probably Exhibit A3. Is that correct?
Correct. Exhibit A3 is the site plan set that was submitted as part of the application.
And just so I cover this, and A4 is actually your resume that we've also marked as an exhibit.
That's correct.
Okay. As it applies to those requirements, has the district included within those requirements, within that application, all the requirements for a special exception?
Yes, sir.
As it showed the grade level, I believe that's Exhibit A8, showing the grade level that's required. Grade being the elevation level for I'm sorry, the actual pupil level, and the capacity is shown on the application.
Correct.
Okay. And then there are plans specifically for driveways and off-street parking.
Yes, those are covered in Exhibit A3 site plan documents.
Okay. And am I correct that there's, in addition, there's a above ground parking lot and an underground parking lot?
Yes, correct. Due to the nature of the site, it is small. It is bound on all four sides by public roads, 3 city streets and 1 state route, which would be Route, 9th Street, North 9th Street. To meet the parking requirements as dictated by the capacity of this school, we do have a combination of surface parking lot on the south end of the site, closest to Douglas, as well as below building parking coming off of the northern side of the site, or Windsor Street, that would serve the staff and teachers.
And if I understand, if I can read my own handwriting, it would be 84 parking spots underground and 67 parking spots above ground. Does that sound correct?
No, it's we have 67 underground parking spaces and 85 surface parking spaces for
Yeah,
a total of 151. Yeah.
151 spots. Okay, I'm sorry, I reversed my numbers. And then the plan also shows the driveways connections with the public streets, and
Correct.
show that they're not within the 50 feet distance from the intersection, correct?
Correct. Curb line to curb line, we are at the minimum 50 feet. So we're outside of that.
I believe the last requirement of that section for special exception is what is contemplated. I assume this is talking like if you had a football field or something, but is there night activities, outside night activities being contemplated?
No.
As it pertains to section 1201, is there an expectation of significant increase in traffic congestion at the site?
No, I mean, there will be drop-off opportunities for both buses and parents, but those, as indicated on our plans, are outside of lanes of traffic.
And this property would permit there to be a commercial building that would generate traffic, correct?
Correct. In fact, the building that stood there before is the home of the former Reading Outlet Center, a destination outlet center for the city.
And the proposal prior to this the proposal prior to this from the developer who sold it to the school district was to also put some type of shopping mall or facility there as well, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Is there going to be a change in the population based upon the student body in this area?
I mean, nobody's living here.
Just going through the steps.
Yeah, certainly less traffic volume than the previous use, and limited to school hours, really, unless there's an evening, meet the parent or meet the teachers kind of thing, but that would occur inside and isn't running 7 days a week all through the school year.
And again, going through the test, is there going to be any impairment of light or air to the adjacent properties?
No.
Any significant threat to public health or safety?
No.
Is it expected to generate any nuisance or hazards detrimental to the adjacent properties?
No, I think this is currently a pile of building rubble from a building that collapsed and/or was raised, and so cleaning up this site, I would assume, would be an improvement to the general neighborhood.
I think you've put up on a screen one of the renderings. Is this the projected rendering of what the building would look like?
Correct. Yeah, this is the view standing on 9th Street, looking north.
Okay. And there's expected to be foliage and I guess streetscape in front and on that sidewalk.
Yeah, correct. As part of our plan preparation, the landscaping plan was included in our application. We did meet on site with the city arborist to review street trees and landscaping needs, and believe that what we show on the plan will meet not only the requirements of the ordinance, but will be amenable to the arborist.
Only oddball thing is I know we just got the letter, but you received the letter and forwarded it to zoning, a will serve letter from Rawa for water service for the property.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
All right. Does any member of the board have any questions for Mr. Otero?
I have two.
Okay,
First of all, we may not be at that stage yet, but have you given thought to the staging of the construction? Where will that occur? I know it's been an issue with some school projects in the past, and we hope to avoid that.
We have, in fact, it's a consideration, especially when we have a 0-foot setback requirement within the ordinance, and we're trying to maximize the building footprint within the confines of that. We are in the initial discussions with the construction type, and have already reached out to Public Works in regards to developing kind of a construction staging area, also looking at off-site options for a parking of contractors that can walk to the site. So we will work with the city and Public Works and the parking authority, I suppose, and making sure any kind of temporary closures for the construction or erection of the building are contemplated. We're also looking at potentially doing some early site work. Obviously, there's a lot of construction debris that needs to be removed before any construction in earnest can begin. Our hope is that we can develop something that may allow us to utilize where the surface parking lot will be as an additional staging area for the construction as well. So we'll certainly continue to be in touch as we develop how this building might go together and timing of those items.
Very good. Second question, you mentioned that 9th Street is a state road, which is true. Do you anticipate needing any PennDOT approvals for the work with the project?
So we tried our darndest to avoid any impact to state right-of-ways. However, if anybody has been to the site, the 9th Street was recently paved. I'm not sure exactly when, but curbing and sidewalks were not done. As part of this project, we are proposing to replace any of the dilapidated existing curbing around the entire site, which would include 9th Street. I've already reached out to PennDOT to discuss what is needed, and that's really just a curb construction permit. Also, the sidewalk along 9th Street would be replaced. Other than that, we do have some minor utility connection permits that would need to be obtained from PennDOT, but nothing really substantial from the PennDOT permitting aspect or HOP aspect.
Okay.
any other board members have a question? All right, question, Mr. Price?
I have none.
Mr. Neff, question?
No, I don't have any.
Anybody in the audience have a question of Mr. Otero? Just a question. All right, seeing
Have
none.
one about, there is a
yeah.
bus stop on the corner of 10th and Douglas.
Okay.
Is that going to be
You
a
have to
part of
identify,
water?
sir, you have to identify yourself, give your address, and then phrase it in the form of a question.
Yeah, my name is Harry Rickenbach. I live at 805 North 10th Street. Is there going to be a problem with the BARDA bus stop there during construction or when the school is built?
I don't see that. I don't, you said it's a 10th? What was the bus stop you were
9th and
identifying?
Douglas. 9th and Douglas.
9th and Douglas, no. If you, am I able to share a screen?
Yes.
If everybody can see the plan.
Yes.
Yes,
So you're talking about down here on our plan, it's the upper left corner of 9th and Douglas. And again, the intent is to, you know, as you can see, the building is actually justified to the north. So we have no necessary need other than construction of curbing and sidewalk replacement to affect that corner of 9th.
Mr. Rickenbach, do you have any more questions for this witness?
No,
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, continue, please.
My last witness is David Schrader, who's the I'm sorry, is everybody done? Was the architect for the project?
Yes.
Are you on, Mr. Schrader?
I am. We're just getting our AV working here. Okay, good.
Your speaker's off, okay.
Turn your mic.
Can you just briefly provide your background and your involvement with the project?
Certainly. My name is David Schrader. The firm is Schrader Group. I'm the managing partner of Schrader Group. The firm is located 161 Leverington Avenue, Manayunk, and that is Philadelphia mailing address. I've been involved with the project since the beginning of the project, which was February, March of this year. I've been working along with a team of architects and engineers to create the project that you see on the site that Aristides just presented to you.
And you have all the appropriate professional licenses to operate in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, sir?
We do, and I do. Yes, sir.
All right, we'll qualify you as an architectural expert then.
And just for the record, that 8.5 is your resume describing all of your background and your degrees.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you're familiar, you just told the panel that you're familiar with the project and you're familiar with the site. I know the first variance we're getting or we're requesting is a height variance. Can you explain just the site and the nature of the site and the height variance that we're requesting?
Yes, I can. And I'd like the opportunity to share the screen as well here. Okay, hopefully you can all see the screen.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we should be looking at an aerial image here. We have elevations in Exhibit A8 as well that will describe exact elevations, but this is Exhibit A9 in our package. And what it's doing is depicting the building heights on the perimeter corners of the building. As you know, the height limitation is 60 feet above average grade. In the case of this project, we're able to achieve the height of 60 feet above grade against Moss Street. The balance of the heights adjacent to Windsor Street are 26 feet and 34 feet. But what happens with the grade as it drops across the site towards 9th Street, and as we provide the opportunity for the parking garage below, which is an additional 11 feet of height, the corner of the building adjacent to 9th Street reaches 67 feet total in height. But when you do the average grade for the requirements of the zoning code, the average height of the building is actually 61.2 feet, which exceeds the 60 feet above grade. We've done what we can with the building to try to reduce the height. It is a 4-story educational building with a parking garage below it. But we have done things like take the floor-to-floor height, which we typically hold at 15 feet to accommodate HVAC, structure, lighting, and so on. And we've reduced that to 14 foot 8 inches just to try to help the situation and keep our building height as far down as we can. So essentially, we've created a 4-story building against Moss and Douglas, and what is 4 stories plus the parking garage to accommodate the required parking on the site against 9th Street, which brings that total building height higher on that corner. So that's the essence of the request. And again, to repeat, it's 61.2 feet average per the zoning interpretation.
So it's approximately 2% over the permissible height.
That's correct.
And I think you already said you took into consideration the ceiling heights. How about the floor height underground for the parking facility?
Yes, we've reduced that to the minimum we can to still provide a reasonable height for vehicles to enter the space. And what we've ended up doing is creating a floor-to-floor height of 11 feet. And once you take structure out of that, it ends up being about an 8'6" to 9 foot clear space for vehicles to access.
Is there any other way to put the parking on the site that would permit you to have as many as 151 spots, other than going slightly over the height limit?
One of the tests that the school district asked us to do, and that includes the civil engineer that you just spoke to, was to try to do parking decks at the front of the site against Douglas Street. The parking decks, unfortunately, because of all the ramps required to get up to and into the parking decks, did not allow us to get to the full 151 parking spaces. So this was really the only way to accomplish that parking requirement.
So is it any way possible to develop a school of this size on the property with a lower height?
We do not believe it is.
And the cause of this issue is the demographic of the site, the site, the current site design. That's causing that issue.
That is what is driving it, the total footprint available to us to construct the facility and the parking required.
So the hardship was not brought on by the district itself.
Correct.
Okay. In your opinion, the request for variance for this Minnetonka's height level, would it in any way affect the essential nature and character of the neighborhood?
We don't believe so, particularly because we're maintaining that character against the residences behind on Moss Street that we're required to.
In your opinion, would the granting of the variance substantially impair the ability to develop any of the adjacent properties?
No.
Do you believe that granting the variance would have any effect on the public welfare?
No.
How do you believe this is the minimum requested relief that the district can request and enable to build a school of this size on the property?
I do.
And is it to your knowledge, would the district be willing to accept reasonable conditions suggested by the zoning hearing board in connection with this variance?
Well, that would certainly be up to the district, but I suspect.
Yes. Can we move on to the sign variance? So can you, just as hopefully you have pictures for this, can you show where the murals and signs will be for this property?
Yes, and you previously saw the beginning of this presentation through the demonstration of the elevations. And so these are the two major elevations that we'll describe, and they help to share with you what the different signage that we're proposing for the building is.
And just for the record, this is A7. Is that, am I correct?
Correct. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry, that's right.
So Exhibit A7 shows it'll actually show both the south and the north elevations of the facility. So we're looking from essentially the corner of Douglas and 9th Street here. And what you're seeing is the first sign that actually parallels 9th Street. And that's a Reading School District sign to basically delineate the site. And it's 39'6" by 2'4". Partially that size to scale itself appropriate to the building. Also to delineate the front door, the front entry of the building, and actually the visitor entry so people know where to come, we've got a canopy structure also on that south face, and it's actually located in the parking lot area. And the sign on that part of the property is 33 feet long by 2 feet high. Again, the scaling of that is meant to be seen from the backside of the parking lot, so people pulling into the parking spaces know where they're pulling into and where to enter the school.
And I guess technically we're referring to this second sign as a roof sign, but it's sitting on the canopy over the doorway, correct?
That's accurate, yes.
And am I correct with respect to both these signs? It is sign in the very, very basic term. I mean, it's not advertising, it's simply identifying the building in the district. Am I correct?
That's correct.
I mean, it's not advertising products or anything of that nature.
It is not.
Okay. What is the illumination or lack of illumination for these signs? What's the expected lighting for both of these signs?
That hasn't been completely worked out yet, but typically what we'll do in a situation like this is we'll just backlight the lettering so that at night you have a light glow and you can actually see the lettering standing out from that glow. We suspect we can do the same thing with the lettering above the entry canopy as well.
And in your professional opinion, is this the size of sign that's required to be able to identify it when you're either walking or driving by?
Yes.
Now, in addition to these signs, am I correct? The next is what we've been referring, is there one more sign and then the murals? Am I correct?
There is one more sign, and I'll move quickly to the north elevation. The north elevation is against Windsor Street. And what happens on this side of the site, it happens to be one of the bus access points. So this is actually the bus entry for the building. And once again, this will serve as an opportunity for identification of the building. And we're proposing the same kind of signage, although you don't see the lettering here. We're proposing an area for the same signage, approximately the same size as well, approximately 39 foot 6 inches long and 2 foot 4 inches high.
And that would again say, identify the school district.
That's correct.
And then in addition to that, I guess we're referring to as murals. Is that the?
Yes, so this is a graphic that will be applied to the window. And what we're proposing here is that it's a partially translucent graphic that you can see through, just as during the day, you'll be able to see the R, and at night, you'll be able to see the R lit up from behind. But it essentially is a window mural. And we're doing the same kind of thing on the north facade as we are on the south facade, so that you have the window mural. And again, it's a graphic applied to the back of the glass on the inside of the building.
And am I correct on the zoning ordinance? Murals are treated are treated differently than signs.
They are.
Do you believe that these signs will anyway change the nature of the essential nature of the neighborhood?
No.
To believe it will provide any hardship with respect to any adjacent property owners?
No.
No further questions on the signs or on the elevation.
Bill?
Anything more from Mr. Schrader?
I have no questions.
All right. All right. First of all, anybody on the board have any questions of Mr. Schrader? I have just kind of a general question, and you don't have to give me a lot of details, whatever. But one of the concerns for schools today is school security. And is that something, and I don't want you to give out any details, but is that something that has been dealt with in this plan to make sure that entries and both day and night, that anybody in that building is being protected to the best that anybody can do?
It is central to the design of the facility.
You've answered my question. Thank you. All right. Mr. Price, did you say you had any questions?
I have none, Mr. Rubino.
Okay, Mr. Neff, any questions?
The only question I would have is, as far as the distinction of that thing being a mural is basically like artwork or something like that. This has more to do, like a sign usually draws attention to the purpose of the principal use. So I know you're not a store, you're not selling things, but it would seem that the image on the back, what was the image on the back of the building that was being called a mural?
That is, and it's the same graphic as the school district, yes.
Okay, so it's the school logo, so I don't know that I don't know. That's a little bit fuzzy, but as long as the board knows that, there would be a little bit, it seems a little bit, it might be a little bit of a stretch to call that a mural. But as long as the board sees it and understands that it's part of the signage and they're okay with it, whatever variance is fine. There is something like signs, window signs. So murals aren't regulated, but signs are. So window signs are supposed to be 30% of the glass area. So, and part of that is so that, like at nighttime, will the police be able to look in through the glass and have visibility to anything that's going on, or will this mural or a sign block observation by police?
Yeah, no, good question. It is not blocking it. It's actually translucent, so you'll be able to see through the product.
So at nighttime, the interior lighting will be enough. And then the sign is permeable to sight that you'll be able to see through it and see whatever activity is going on.
That's correct, yes.
No other questions.
Okay. Anybody in the audience have any questions of Mr. Schrader? Questions only. All right, seeing none, Mr. Maravich, you can continue.
They're my witnesses. I'd move my exhibits. If there's anything else,
Your exhibits are admitted.
Okay,
if there's obviously anything else the board would want submitted, either, I know we've included some legal argument in our application. If the board or the solicitor would care for any additional argument, we would provide it, but I don't want to take up any more of the board's time right now unless they're asking me to do that right now.
okay.
I would just request if I could have, I think you submitted copies of architectural plans that I don't have as far as the application. I think you're submitting them tonight, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, so if I could just have a hard copy of that for the file.
Right.
And the digital file, that'd be great.
Yeah, I presume you, like, again, we submitted PDF, so I presume you want the full-fledged design, like, yes, but no problem at all. We'll make sure we get them over to you.
Okay. Now, anybody on the board, any final questions or comments? Mr. Price, any final comments or questions?
None, Mr. Rabina.
Mr. Neff,
No.
anybody in the audience want to speak for or against the project? All right, seeing none, that closes this appeal. We'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. We thank all of you for your participation, and you did provide us with some very, very good information, and we appreciate that very much. So thank you, and you do not have to be here next month. The decision will be mailed to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank everybody for their time.
Okay. All right. Sandy, are you okay?
I am, thank you.
Mr. Rabina, just with respect to the next hearing, I'll put the exhibits in, but I can't participate. I just realized when looking down at my agenda, but I believe I've represented the applicant in the past, in the not too distant past. And so if the board will need legal assistance with this appeal, I'll get a third party lawyer unaffiliated with my firm to give you legal advice, if that's agreeable.
I think that would be agreeable.
Okay.
I think we can work with that. All right, the next matter before us is Appeal 22-36, 411, 415 Fern Avenue. Ming Soo Hu is requesting a special exception of section 803.B.3 parameter A pursuant to section 1202.A and a modification to the parking requirement as part of the special exception, and in the alternative, a variance of section 1603 (31) A and D to allow 5 two-bedroom apartments. The subject property is located in the R2 zoning district. Okay, I believe you're represented by counsel. Let's go to the zoning office first. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, has notice for this appeal been given?
Yes, it has.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Thank you. I'll put,
Oh, that's right.
One
Okay.
second.
Where's the music coming from? Oh, okay. Mr. Price, I guess we can trust that you can enter the exhibits.
all right, thank you. I'll put the exhibits in. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay, and we'll have Ms. London enter her appearance and then swear in anybody that's going to testify. Ms. London, do you have any problems with what Mr. Price suggested in case we need legal advice?
No, I have no problem with that.
Okay, so enter your appearance and then we'll swear in whomever you're going to have testify.
Okay, sure. For Ming Soo Hu, Joan, middle initial E, London, London, Kozloff Stout, 2640 Westview Drive, Wyomissing 19610. I will be putting on the testimony of Mr. Hu and of Louis Masiotti, who's here tonight.
All
Okay.
right, will you both please raise your right hand?
And Louis, you are, you're muted, so you have to unmute yourself.
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And our other witness?
Okay.
Louis, please take yourself off mute.
Should be in the bottom section of your screen, I think.
Yeah, I'll take them off.
Okay.
I think I can do this. Apparently I can only ask.
Unmute.
Oh,
Okay, you're unmuted now.
Okay,
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
okay.
Okay, one correction I have from the reading of the exhibits, the variance requested in the alternative from the special exception on adaptive reuse was a variance for parking, not a variance to allow the 5 apartments.
Oh,
That was the alternative relief requested. We have also forwarded to the zoning officer, I believe last week, an alternative plan that would have 4 apartments. We are still asking for the 5 with the modification of parking requirements or in the alternative of variance. But in the event that the board would not be inclined to grant the parking variance for any reason or parking modification, we would ask that the 4 be considered, which would not require any parking modification.
okay.
Okay.
You know, we would consider that.
All right, thank you. I first call Ming Hu.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Can you state your full name?
Ming, M-I-N-G, S is initial, and last name Hu, H-U,
And what is your address?
415 Firm Avenue.
Okay,
and
is
Reading,
that your-
California.
yeah, is that your residence?
Yes,
Are you employed?
yes.
By whom are you employed?
A1 Construction,
Do you own
Can you
A1
repeat that?
construction?
Can you repeat it?
A1 Construction, Inc.
Thank you.
Do you own A1 construction?
Yes, I do.
All right, and do you own the property which is the subject of this application?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and how long have you owned A1 construction?
About 17 years.
Okay, can you just, the application is for 411 to 415 Fern Avenue. And you stated that you live at 415 Fern Avenue. Can you describe exactly where you live on the property and describe the part of the property that you want to renovate and adaptively reuse?
Yes. When I bought the property, and then the previous owner told me they have 3 addresses in there, and then which is 415, 411, and 413. So the county will show like a 411, and they couldn't find 415. I'm not sure what's wrong with that. And then also the 411 is an empty lot in there. And then behind we have a warehouse, like a 8,000 square feet warehouse. And then also I own the 415 resident, like a 3-story.
Okay, so you live in the 3-story house?
Yes. Oh,
And-
no, 2-story with the basement, I'm sorry.
Oh, 2 stories basement. And do, and is the area that you intend to renovate the 8,000 square foot warehouse?
Yes.
Okay, and what is the current use of that 8,000 square foot warehouse?
As a commercial use.
Okay,
Before they have a bakery, and then they also have a distributor, food, like a food distributor behind. Yeah.
and now how is it? Is it being used now at all?
No, it's vacant right now.
Okay. Now, there were some pictures that were submitted with the application to the board. I'll ask that the zoning officer share those pictures that were submitted with the application.
Sure.
Okay, let me just pull it up. You want the diagrams or the
The photographs.
photographs? Okay. Actually, okay.
Okay. Looking at the photographs that you see there, and they're in black and white, and I believe we also have color, but do they show the condition of the property as it is now?
Yes.
Okay, now, what would you like to do with this property?
I would like to the outside. I would like to put the stucco in and new window, and going to be like a new building. You know, if you look at outside, you know. So
Okay, what would you like to do with the interior?
the interior, I would like to put 5 apartments in there if I can.
Okay, and would those apartments be as shown on the plans that we submitted with your application?
Yes.
Did you hire Louis Massiotti to prepare plans for the building?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now, I mentioned in my opening remarks that we've submitted an alternative plan with 4 apartments. What is the reason for that alternative plan?
Let me ask me. What I don't understand. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Hugh, you need to answer the question. You can't have anybody else in the background.
Okay.
Okay, what was the reason for the alternative plan with 4 apartments?
You can use leading questions if you want, Ms. London.
Yeah. When you submitted the plan for the 4 apartments, was it due to the parking requirements?
Yes.
Okay, and would you prefer to have the 5 apartments if you can?
Yes.
And do you believe that modifying the parking requirements would in any way have any detrimental effect on the surrounding neighborhood?
No.
And why not?
No.
Why don't you believe that there would be any problem with the having 6 spaces rather than 8 spaces?
Well, some of them, most family, they only have a 1 car. And some of them, they don't have car, That's why I have someone that already, wants the apartment.
Okay, you already have somebody who wants the apartment?
Yes.
And does that person own a car?
Yeah, some of them, they don't have cars, some of them they do, So
Okay. Can you please describe the surrounding neighborhood? Is the neighborhood a residential neighborhood?
yes, it's a residential neighborhood.
Are there other apartments in the neighborhood or houses with apartments?
No, they don't have a apartment. They all have houses and then they park on the street.
Okay, but are there also any are there apartments there as well in the neighborhood?
Yes.
Good. And would allowing 5 apartments change the character of the area in any way?
No.
Would allowing the apartments cause traffic congestion?
No.
Do you believe that there is a market for apartments in the city?
Yes.
Okay, and why do you believe that?
Yes, because some of them houses kind of high and they rent it, and then the apartment, they have a little reasonable rent, so so a lot of people can afford it.
Okay. And how many bedrooms in these apartments?
Some of them two, most of them two.
Two bedroom apartments?
Yeah.
And do you believe that the apartment conversion would have a positive impact on the surrounding area?
Yes.
And why do you believe that?
Cheap price.
Okay, now when you say price, are these going to be market rate apartments?
Performing houses for other people.
Yeah, are they going to be market rate?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay, does any member of the board have any questions for Mr. Who?
Yes.
I just have a one. When did you purchase the property at 411 Fern Avenue? What was the date approximately?
I bought around April on 2022.
Okay, because I didn't see your name in the County of Berks. Okay, so it just hasn't probably shown up yet in the county records.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
bought it early this year.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Gatton?
No, that's it.
Okay, any other member of the board have a question? All right, Mr. Price, question.
I can't participate.
Oh, that's right. Okay, we'll go. Mr. Neff, question.
Yeah, I just had a question. Okay, so what's the square footage of the 2-bedroom apartments? Because I couldn't really see it on the plan. The plan that I had was kind of small.
About around,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead if you can.
Around 700 to 800 square feet.
Okay, so a 2-bedroom apartment needs to have 700, so it can't be under 700. Do you foresee that as being a threshold you're able to meet?
Yes.
Okay. See, the other question I would have you seen my staff report as far as the the regulations for dimensional, what we would call the bulk regulations for the R2 zoning district?
No.
Okay, so Yeah, the question I would have, I want to share my screen on
You
something.
gotta look at the site plan. You can't look at the picture.
Is this your property here?
So this is the
Yes.
property,
Okay, so you own this semi-detached home here, is that correct?
and this is other space.
Yes.
That's-
Okay, and the warehouse is in the back here, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the parking that you're proposing would be here in the grassy area, is that correct?
Yes.
And then you'd have access on this alley here to get into it?
Yes. They have a wireway, 20-foot wireway. We can using the wireway and exit in and out.
Okay, so the one regulation that I just happened to see earlier today was there's a maximum impervious coverage for other uses other than like a single family dwelling or a townhome, that you have a 50% impervious coverage allotment. So when I look at the site plan on the schematics we just looked at over here, let's see. Okay, so here's the garage or the warehouse, correct? And here is a the semi-detached home. And then all of this would be paved. So the only thing that would be green would be this little strip right here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to be well over the 50% impervious coverage. So that'd be
Yes.
something that the board would have to address.
I would argue that this is a pre-existing condition to the degree that there is going to be any additional impervious added. I'd like to amend my application to ask for further variance, but we don't believe that this is going to change the level of pre-existing nonconformity.
The additional variance is fine because you already applied for variances, so the public would have notice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And I would concede that the warehouse is pre-existing but the parking would be increasing in nonconformity because you'd be creating more, it would just be creating a nonconformity. But
The board can hash those things out.
yep, that's all the questions I have then.
all right, Ms. London, anything else?
Nothing further for this witness. I'll call my next witness,
Go ahead.
Louis Masiotti.
Louis, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
good. We had some trouble right before the hearing as far as getting the Zoom link and getting in. So I'm relieved that everything's all right that way. Mr. Neff, did you receive the link I had sent to Mr. Massiotti's website yet as far as his professional experience?
All right,
Yes.
Mr. Massiotti's testified probably a dozen times in front of the board, so he's admitted as a.
All right, you'll stipulate to his qualifications as an expert
Yeah.
then?
Sure.
All right, then we'll just ask that that the CV be marked as Exhibit 1. And Mr. Masiotti, does what is on your firm's website reflect your education, your licensure and experience as an architect?
Yes, it does.
All right. Are you familiar with the property located at 411 to 415 Fern Avenue in the city?
Yes, I've surveyed it.
Right, and was that at the request of Mr. Hugh asking to prepare a plan for renovation?
Yes,
And would this be an adaptive reuse under city regulations?
it would.
Did you prepare the plans that were attached to the application?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask Mr. Neff to again share the screen. The application. Okay. Yeah, that's an email about this, about something unrelated.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Which page?
The third page, please.
Is this the page? This is page 3.
No, all I'm seeing on the screen is an email regarding housing conversions in Pittsburgh.
Well, the board has a copy of the floor plan. Is that what you're referencing, Ms. London?
I am. I'm referencing first the photographs on page 3 of the
Application.
submission by Mr. Masiotti.
Right, we have all that. That's already
Sure.
been admitted. So
Yeah.
let's not worry about the putting it up on the screen. Let the board has it. You can just reference what you want to refer to.
Okay, that would be fine. Do the photographs in the application package show the current condition of the property?
Yes,
And going to the next page, there appears to be a survey. Does that show the layout of the property and the lot?
yes, that shows everything.
And did you ask John W. Hoffert to prepare this layout, the survey of the property?
Yes,
Now, can you tell the board what is shown on the parking layout sketch prepared by Mr. Hoffert?
there are 6 parking spaces, one of them being handicap accessible. There's planting along Fern Avenue and at the along the residential side.
Okay, and so it shows frontage onto Fern Avenue,
Yes,
and it shows the warehouse building in the back.
that's the rear half of the properties.
Okay, and a 10-foot alley to the side,
Correct.
and with the warehouse building being the one which is proposed for the apartment renovations.
Yes,
Okay, and how would the parking area be accessed?
from Fern Avenue onto the 10-foot right-of-way leading to the parking spaces.
And how many spaces could be made available?
6.
And could more be created?
You can't get any closer to the building.
And what is the approximate dimension of the spaces?
9 by 18 and the handicap spaces per ADA requirements.
And is the existing dwelling or all of the existing buildings shown on this plan?
Yes,
Okay, and approximately how much additional impervious surface would be added?
basically the parking area.
Okay, would there be any detrimental effect from adding this impervious surface?
I don't think would be serious.
And would that be mitigated by any stormwater planning?
The stormwater would be accommodated, right?
Okay, now I'd like you to turn to the next page, which is labeled as page A2. And do you have it? Is this the plan that you prepared?
I do, I have to get my copy. I thought it would be on screen.
There, I can. Let's try it again.
And that would be, yes, that would be it. No, you had it.
Oh.
The next page. All right. Now, Mr. Masiotti, looking at the document that is on the screen, did you prepare this?
Yes,
And could you describe for the board what is shown?
typical apartment has a 2 bedrooms and a bath, large living room, dining room, and kitchen, and a second half bath.
Right. Do these meet the city's minimum area requirement of 700 square feet for a 2-bedroom apartment?
Yes, they're more than the minimum.
And with the alternative plan for 4 apartment units, does this also meet the city requirements for area, living spaces, sleeping area, kitchen and bath for the apartments?
Yes, the alternative would.
Would allowing apartments, either 4 apartments or 5 apartments, change the character of the neighborhood in any way?
No, I think that would be an improvement to the neighborhood.
And why would it be an improvement to the neighborhood, in your opinion?
The building has been poorly maintained. It's still structurally solid, but the exterior has not been cared for. We would improve that. Great.
Okay. Would allowing the apartments cause traffic congestion or over concentration of population?
No.
Okay, and why not?
Excuse me. Okay. Back.
Okay, why would it not cause traffic congestion or over concentration of population?
Well, we're not parking on the street for one, and there aren't that many. The population's not greatly increased.
Okay. And I guess I'll ask the same question about the parking spaces where we're asking for modification or variance to allow 6 spaces for 5 apartments. Do you believe that that will have a negative impact on the area?
I think that could work. I don't think it would have a negative effect.
Okay, is there going to be any change to the height or footprint of the building?
No, everything will be within the footprint.
Okay, will there be any impact on light and air to adjacent structures?
The only adjacent structures are a garage, so there'd be no real effect.
Right. Would there be any negative community impacts from the grant of the parking variance or modification or the impervious cover modification?
I don't think so.
Right. And do you believe that the variances that are being requested are the minimum variances required to afford relief?
Yes.
And do you believe that any of the hardships with this property have been in any way self-created by Mr. Hugh?
No.
Right. Are all of the opinions offered this evening given with a reasonable degree of professional certainty?
Yes.
I don't have anything further.
Okay, thank you. All right, any board members have any questions of the architect? Okay, Mr. Neff, any questions?
No, no question.
Anybody in the audience have any questions of either the architect or Mr. Hugh? All right, seeing none. That concludes this appeal. We'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be here. We thank you for your input and we'll move on to the next appeal.
Okay, thank you very much. See you next
All
month.
right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Sandy, you still okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Appeal 2022-37, 1500 North 13th Street. This is Dakasha Patel.
Dakshish Patel.
Okay, thank you. Is requesting a variance of section 600-802 and possibly variances from 600-98916 dumpster regulations and 600 and 1603 parking to allow a restaurant coffee shop. The subject property is located in the R2 zoning district within the Heights overlay. Sir, are you represented by counsel or are you presenting the case yourself?
Presenting the case myself.
Okay. I'm going to read something here, and I think you need to make a decision about something. It said, the hearing board application was not filled out completely. It did not address some of the reasons that you were given for the denial. The application is basically an appeal to allow a coffee shop and restaurant with no supporting documentation. The zoning office does not believe there is adequate information to make a decision. Now, what that means basically is this. If they don't have enough information to give us, we can't make the best decision for you or for the community. So I think it comes down to this. We can either ask you a series of questions tonight and try to get answers from you, or we could make a request to give you a continuance to next month's meeting, and you can get the information together that you need to present adequate information to us and to the zoning office. And an extension does not cost you anything. You don't have to reapply, but it gives you 30 more days to get the information together that they need to have to give to us, and also to make sure that, you know, you've given them all the information they need. So I guess my question to you is, I'm willing to make a motion to see if I get a second to give you an extension until next month, or we will proceed with what we have and we'll make a decision on what we have, good, bad, or indifferent.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
All right, so I've been speaking with Ruth. I'm actually a contractor. I'm the one who's leasing the location for the coffee shop. And in 2017, it was presented to the ZHB for a bagel shop, which is the same thing that I'll be doing. I'm just calling it a coffee shop. Nothing changed. Everything will be the same.
That's not, the hours of operation were not 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. There's a lot of issues. There's been opposition since then to commercialization of this property. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you need to address. I mean, it doesn't make a difference to the board. You can go ahead tonight, but just be forewarned.
Okay.
Yeah, how should I say that? The least information we have is definitely not in your favor, nor is it in the favor of the community. I think that you need to really think this through, and you need to listen to what the zoning office is telling you and put that information down and do it that way. If you choose not to, I will let you present your case. You tell us whatever you feel is necessary, and we will make a decision based on that information.
Okay. No, I guess I'll just take the extension. Please.
Okay.
I thought everything was there.
All right, here's what I would do. I think you need to get in touch with the zoning officer. He will tell you exactly whatever else you need to put in, in the presentation of your case. And you need to have that done by next month's meeting. And then we will be, happy to review your appeal. So I am going to make a motion to grant an extension for the appeal on 2022-37, which is 1500 North 13th Street. Do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion? All right, so you need to get together with the zoning officer and have your things ready for the October meeting. And like I said, the more information we have, the better decisions we can make.
Understood.
I think you made a good choice in doing that. All right.
Yep.
And just for the
Okay,
record,
and any of you that may be in the audience that were interested in this case, just please pay attention to it for next month. And then, you'll see what comes. And if you have any questions or comments, we'll take care of that at that time. All right, thank you.
the next date will be October 12th, just for anyone who might be interested, just so we
Okay.
don't have to re-advertise.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
All
sir.
right.
All right.
So that takes care of our meeting for September. We thank all of you for your input and your help this evening. And maybe, Tom, if you can kind of keep the board on the air for a little bit, and then we have one or two things that we need to discuss. So thank you, everybody, and see you next month. Yes, Ms. Lebo.
I had signed up to participate, but I didn't hear anything about statements.
About what case?
About the appeal 2022-36. I heard about for questions, but not for actual statements from the public.
Oh, well, I'm sorry if I missed you. I thought I asked that, but maybe I didn't.
I just heard about questions.
Well, then you're gonna have to reopen that hearing, Mr. Chairman, and have her testify.
Okay, all right, then we're gonna reopen appeal 22-36, which is 415 Penn Street and
Fern Avenue.
Fern Avenue.
huh?
Fern
Fern
Avenue.
Avenue, I'm sorry, Fern Avenue. Okay, and you would like to ask a question?
Not
Name and
question.
address.
I have a statement to make.
Name
I
and
have
address.
a question.
Wait a minute, wait a
Raise your
minute.
right hand.
You
Do you
got
swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Kristen Lebo. I live at 418 Fern Avenue, Reading, PA, 19611.
Okay, now, do you have a question or do you want to make a statement?
I want to make a statement.
Go ahead.
Okay, and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I have been a lifelong resident of the Melmont area of Reading. When I moved out of my parents' house, I chose to stay in Melmont because it offered single-family style homes, a quiet environment, and ample parking. The property in question for appeal number 2022-36, 411 to 415 Fern Avenue is right across the street from my residence. Approving this appeal would be a detriment to this neighborhood. First of all, this area has always been made up of single-family homes, and building 4 or 5 two-bedroom apartments would change the neighborhood and would no longer be a neighborhood of single-family homes. Second, Milmont has always been a quiet neighborhood in which to live, and adding an apartment complex would take that away, that peacefulness. Third of all, parking is a major issue, and adding 4 or 5 apartments will only make this worse. Growing up, there were always plenty of parking spaces available no matter what time of day. Over the past 12 years at my current residence, I have watched the number of vehicles on the street and in the immediate area grow exponentially. For example, at the property in question, there are currently 5 vehicles parked at any given time on the block. I have 1 car. I leave early in the morning and return at a decent time after work, sometimes struggling to find a spot on my block. I now contemplate if driving my vehicle for errands at night is worth it due to not finding parking when I return. When parking isn't available on this block, people are forced to go to the immediate streets in the area, which are already packed with cars as it is already. Constructing more apartments will only add to this current parking problem. And if a parking lot is provided at this property in question, it can still exacerbate parking issues. Now, he mentioned that it won't because they don't have many cars, but there's no guarantee that the people moving in or future tenants of these apartments will have more vehicles and spaces allotted in that lot, which will cause them to park on the street, which is already overcrowded in this area. So approving this appeal would only hurt this block and the immediate area. It takes away the appeal of single-family home housing, the quiet atmosphere, and adds more stress on top of the existing parking problems. Please deny the appeal 2022-36 411 to 415 for an avenue to preserve the integrity of this neighborhood that so many of us sought out when choosing a place to live.
Okay, thank you. I apologize that I missed you, but thank you for your input. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so that closes that appeal then. We have that on the record. Okay, Tom, if you can clear everybody off except the board, we'll take a couple of minutes and wrap up some stuff and then we'll go from there. Thank you.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Okay, good night, everybody. Okay,
Let me just get these kicked off here.
yeah.
Who's on the, is, no one from the board's on the phone, right?
Pardon?
I'm just trying to, do I have the ability to kick people off of here?
Let's see.
Galaxy Tab A, I don't know, so I have
Yeah, we
Charlie, Jared.
Phil, do you want me to just arrange a time in the morning and we can meet somewhere for breakfast or whatever, or?
Yeah, why don't we do that? That's probably just as simple.
All right, I'll, that restaurant next to where we used to meet, next to the galley, it used to be the Steps of Reading, they do breakfast. So I'll get Glenda to get a time out to everybody by email. We can go there.
All right, that sounds good.
All right.
Thank all of you and hope everybody's feeling better and hope nobody catches anything between
Yes,
now
sir.
and then.
Yeah, if
That's for
anybody,
sure.
if anybody thinks they just have a sore throat, you can always participate by phone the next time.
Right. So,
Just kidding.
okay, well, thank you, everybody, and have a good evening.
See ya.
You too.
Glad everybody's
Talk to you
well.
later.
Take
Right,
care.
bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. Okay,
Good.
Good night, guys.
good night.